Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Fade to Black. I am your host, Donnell Lamonte Morris. Mr. Alan Bragg, welcome back. Welcome back.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Miss Anita Joe, aka Teach, welcome back to the show.
Welcome. Nice being here.
With Beach Johnson. Beach Johnson, what's up?
What's good with people? How everybody doing?
And then our guest / panelist, Mr. O. How you doing, Michelle?
In Nigeria, we say I de campe. That means I'm all right.
And then we
I de campe.
I de campe. I de campe. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, we're gonna start speaking that. If Mr. O keep coming on the show like this, we're gonna start speaking like that from now on. So, and then we have a special guest, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Carter. If hopefully he can hear us. Can you hear us, Mr. Carter? Can you hear us? Do you have your headphones?
He probably needs some headphones on.
Yeah, you gotta get some headphones. Yeah.
Well, it might need headset.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, while he's setting up, I'm going to start off in the opening statements. All right, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, welcome to Fade to Black. We are in our opening statements, and I just want to open it off with a little something like this. I want to thank each and every one of y'all for supporting this show, for watching it. Even for those who have different perspectives than us, people that don't look like me that's watching this show, to continue to watch. And I will tell you this. It is my honor and it is my privilege to let you know that we got a store. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we officially have a store to help you to keep this show going. We got the mask because we know we got COVID out here. Ladies and gentlemen, COVID is still out here, so please protect yourself. We have the phone covers for both your Samsungs and Androids, and then also for your iPhones as well. We got cups, we got shirts, we got sweaters, we got leggings, and we got the sweaters. Well, the hoodies. I'm sorry, hoodies. I apologize about that. So anything to help support this show, we got the merch for you. The money's not just going out for us just to splurge. This is actually to help the show grow much, much more. And I just want to have that as my opening statements. And I will lead it off next to Teach. No, I'm sorry. My bad. I'm going to have my guests take over next.
Hey y'all, how you doing? My name's Asani Carter. I am a genealogist. That means I do family history research. I am also the nephew, so to speak, of Anita Diop. She and my mom are really close friends, and she's known me since I was a teenager, right? So I'm trying to look into my camera. So she's known me since I was a teenager. And that's who I am. That's who I am in a nutshell. Sorry, I'm a little tired too.
Your turn, Mr. O. Mr. O, it's your turn.
Okay, thanks. You people know about the Yoruba. In the Yoruba cosmogony, they talk about the Olodumare that created the universe, and he had a very wise spirit of wisdom called Orunmila, which means the spirit that shook the whole heavens and split it apart. That spirit of wisdom, according to Ifa poems that I have been reading, explain about word. That is the one we have in the Bible when we talk about in the beginning was the word. When you look into Ifa poems, you will understand what Moses was referring to. He said he is looking, Oromila said he's looking for who knows the beginning of Oro, the world, and the ending of the world. He can't find it until later, after passing through all the Orisha entities. No one could answer it. And he said even he, the spirit of wisdom, could not understand it. And then he told us who is the one that can do it. As this program go on, possibly after August, September, after knowing you well, I will use what Ifa poem lectured, and I will use it to point out why Black people have problem all over the world. Then I will point to you who the enemy really is. But for the meantime, I continue to learn about your failing, why you are annoyed, but I want to participate. And before I come in with the ancient cosmogony, the ancient lessons, and how we committed errors that put us where we are today. Thank you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm sorry I missed the last show, but I had some little medical issues going on, but I'm back. I want to talk briefly about responsible Black gun ownership. In our topic today, we're going to be talking about the Black militia, and it kind of ties to that, and what Grandmaster Jay and the NFAC, what they push. But I just want to talk briefly about responsible gun ownership. Some things that you should keep in mind is that as Black people, we have to make sure that we can have a weapon legally. Can you legally own a firearm? Is what I'm trying to ask. And two, know the laws surrounding firearms and stay updated. Often laws change, and some people just don't know about the update. So stay involved and stay active when you're trying to know about your firearm laws. And again, we're going to be talking about the Black militia. And one of the things that I believe is going to come out of this new group is that a bunch of laws are going to come in place. Just like the Mulford Act in California, where they stopped people from open carrying rifles after the Black Panthers started doing it. So I think some laws are going to come into effect real soon, but we'll get into more to that later. And I want to say, just get involved in your local groups. Join the gun right groups if you can. You don't have to join 2 or 3 of them. Just join one gun right groups. That way you can help get the message out there, and that our gun rights are important. Second Amendment. We all have homeowners insurance, renters insurance, car insurance, all kind of different insurance. They even have insurance out there for firearms to help protect you just in case you have to utilize your firearm. USCCA is one of them. That's the one I utilize. I'm not advocating for them. I'm just saying that's the one I use. There's different ones out there. So I would, you shop around on your own and you can find out what you like. Don't buy a gun and let it collect dust. You have to train. Know your weapon. I go to the range quite often, and I see people with firearms, and I know they're new gun owners, and my time is about to run short. But I'll leave you with this. train. Train with your weapon, know your weapon, all right? So don't just buy a firearm. Get out there and learn how to use it. All right. I'll talk to y'all in a bit.
Aquaba, Mowini, Nangadef. I greet you in the various tongues of the African nations, and today I'm going to explore Watoto. Watoto means child or children in Kiswahili. Children are our future, so let us lead the way. It is also said that children are our inheritance. So if children are our inheritance, then we are their guardians, and they must be properly educated, properly nourished with self-love, self-determination, self-esteem, self-identification, as well as self-sufficiency. When we train the child to be a viable part of our community, then that child will develop to never let us down because they carry the seed of our vision and our success. So we must properly raise our children, take the time to invest in them, to look at them and find their God-given gifts, skills, and talents. Because children can be just like wild grass. If it's seeded, it rains a little bit, the sun will come out. You know, grass will grow. Grass will grow through cement, concrete, or anything man-made if given a little bit of water and a little bit of sun. But it will be wild grass. And we don't want our children to be wild grass. We want them to be people with a mission, people with a purpose that can lead us into a better frame of mind. Our world is being shaken up and the mind is changing. And the seed of change is in all of the children that's going to be born this year because they will bear the brunt of the change that we will see in the next 25 years. So the seed of change, of changing this racism system in America is being born, is being germinated right now. Train up a child in the way that they should go, and when they get old, they shall not depart.
Good evening, one and all. Hope all is well. I want to speak about the term black when referring to the actions of African Americans in America. We often try to scream that racism isn't there, but any actions or tactics or just everyday living is deemed black when we do it. But any other race or ethnicity in America does not get that tag. So as when we speak about black militants and black militia today, we are speaking about black individuals who have come together. We're not speaking about it in the sense that the average American is programmed to speak in and think of, because that's one of the subtle nuances of racism, attaching unwarranted negative stereotypes upon individuals because of something that they can't control. I guarantee you, if everyone had a choice on what color they would be, a lot of us would change it. A lot of us would ask, first off, which color gonna get the most love and the most benefits once I get to Earth? That would be our decision. But now I'm just going off on a tangent. As we speak on black militia, we're not speaking on terrorist threats. We're not speaking on guerrilla style warfare tactics. We're speaking on individuals who are reenacting the actions of their forefathers. They are following the blueprint that was made by those that came before them. When in a situation like this is what you need to do. Black people find ourselves like that. So this is what we're doing. For example, you see this. It used to be a time when you tell a whole bunch of black folk, we as the Klan or we as white people gonna be armed and we gonna be in this location. Black folk would be about 30 miles away from it. But now you got that generation that you throw out that open challenge. I'm on the stage, whether my music playing or not, and I'm about to be in the ring. So, are you Klansmen and racists out there? Be very careful what you say now, because there's equal evidence to show you that your days of just openly expressing your ways and your thoughts in a physical manifestation are numbered. You can't be out here doing this, because there's just as many black folk out here that's armed, and more skilled with their armory than you that will take you down. And that's my thought.
All right, so I bring everybody back up in here. So now let's get ready for our main story. So let me go ahead and just set this up for everybody, what this show is going to be about. So let me go ahead and play this beautiful bean footage.
Black power.
Damn right. Yeah, that's got to go.
Oh my gosh.
Sit around. Look at what the you did. You made blacks come out. I don't see no white militia.
She said, "Oh my
But to the
gosh."
boogie boys, the 3%ers, and all the rest of you scared ass rednecks. We here. Where the f you at? We in your house. Let's go. NFAC, mother.
I can't tell you what's gonna happen.
So just to set it all up for you, this is what we're talking about for today. Seeing that for me was very, very powerful. And just knowing that we have came to this point, this time, right now, that we had enough. You didn't hear us the first time we protest peacefully. Now we're going to show arms because you've been smacking us in the face. You've been killing us. Now enough is enough. But that's coming from me. So I'm just going to go around the horn. Anybody can take the floor on this. By seeing that video, what's the first thing that came to mind?
It's not new.
Yeah,
first thing
not to me neither.
Yeah, it's nothing new. Black militia has been around for as long as we've been black, right? You know, starting from in Africa, you know, and in terms of the American context, right? Black militias have been around um, for since Haiti, right, and before Haiti, right? With black revolts, so it's nothing new. It is powerful to see, right? It's powerful to see because we are finally in this day and age getting beyond our fear, right? We're getting beyond the fear of of what we might look like to the public eye. What we might
All
look
right.
like to white folk, right? There was a long stretch of time in which we played respectability politics, right? Well, don't tip them off too much. We got to be peaceful, right? And now we're finally getting to that by any means necessary stage.
I think
In
we.
the
Oh,
21st century.
I was
What are
gonna
you gonna
add on
say?
it with you. I was gonna add on with you. I agree with you. Also, I also think it's more consistency. Whereas like throughout
Yes.
history, we've seen it, but it's always been few and far between. Because we were so spread
Right.
out initially, so it was harder
Right.
to get that word across. With
Right.
the advantages of technology, that
Right.
word is instantaneous.
Right.
So
Right.
instead of seeing and hearing about 200 here,
Yeah.
75 here, maybe 120 here, you
Right.
had, I would gather, over 500 armed brothers and sisters,
Right.
probably closer to 1,000.
Right.
And
It was
I,
confirmed 1,000.
God bless, that's what I was
Wow.
thinking, but I didn't want to assume. I just by looking at that video right there, I could easily say over 500 folk, brothers and sisters armed peacefully. But hey, what I
What
say is
I would
this is
like to
what
say
happens
something.
with Candyman.
Mhm.
If you keep if you keep bringing the name up and you keep messing with him and entertaining it, he gonna come around.
Mhm.
If you
Go
Right.
ahead.
keep messing with black folk and making it harder for us to do what we need to do, we're gonna rise up.
Right.
Right.
Go
Aunt
ahead.
Anita.
Go ahead, teacher.
Okay. I always have to bring in the historical perspective, and like Hassani said, that it is nothing new. What I would say is the main difference between today, what we just viewed, and historically speaking, is that now we have the right to organize. During the slavery, two or three could not
Mm-hmm.
gather. Definitely, we have many slave revolts that that didn't take place because someone snitched them out. Someone told
Right.
the master
Mm-hmm.
that the slaves had gotten together and was planning a revolt. So in this case, in this day and age and timeline, they have the right. They can exercise their rights as citizens to bear arms. Now, are they truly training, or is it a Saturday night thing to do? We get together, go from state to state, everybody bring their firearms. What is their program? What is their point? And I know our government will be looking at them as a terrorist group, and first and foremost, their objective is to overthrow the government. Anytime any blacks
Mm.
get together, that is the theme. The United States government see them as enemy number one, and their purpose is to overthrow the government. So I would want to know what is their true intention. um Beside, what is their true intention? Are they truly training with the weapons? Are they strategizing? Are they building military strategies? What is this for?
Right.
Because it would come down to, I'm hanging out with the boys on Saturday night
All
for
right.
me.
Got you. So,
Yeah, I understand what you're
Bragg,
talking about.
I see that you
Well,
had something to add,
I
Bragg.
can
Go ahead.
say that
I'm waiting to be able to give a small opinion.
Um,
In my yes, in my tribe, we have some spiritual entities that we worship, do sacrifices of fruits or anything at
Yes.
their, at their sanctuary, and the oracle will tell us what is needed when there is a problem. And at times it can tell us color. That's where the thing comes from. Palm oil is what we use in cooking, and it is red. So there is a saying in my tribe that when an entity needs blood and you give it palm oil, it will not accept it. I hope you got me. I have nothing more to add.
So, Bragg,
Hmm.
your camera was freezing. What you was about to say?
Yeah, I was just saying that they do train. They have criteria. They have forms that people must sign when they come out. I've been following their little group, with the organization, and they do train. You know, they teach the women as well. It had a bunch of. It wasn't just men. It was women out there. And again, they're all well, not all of them, but a lot of them are veterans. You know, military
Yes.
veterans. So they
My
know
dad,
how to handle firearms. You know, they're not just some uh, old gangbang members that got together and is gonna just do some things. You know, I think they're shaking some things up in a positive manner. You know, they don't even walk around with loaded. You know, they got their magazines in, but they don't have a round in the chamber. You know, they practice discipline, weapon discipline. I mean, and even people who not legally able to have a firearm, they're not allowed to march with them or walk with them. You know, they put them in the back of the formation, and they may not have a weapon, but you know, since they can't legally carry, and they can walk with them, but they can't have a weapon. So they have a strong criteria, and they do follow it. They're talking jazz like you know, they're gonna go kill Whitey. You know, that's not their purpose. But their purpose is to stand up and let you know they're NFAC, no fucking around coalition,
Right.
yeah,
not fucking around anymore coalition is what they're called.
and,
Gotcha.
and one of the biggest things that I really like about them, not just because of the name, but they also go into different chapters all around the country as well. Because if any of y'all watch Roland Martin was one of the first on the black media side to come out and interview this man. One of the first, which is kind of surprising to me because all these other new black media that covers black stories haven't reached out for him. Tariq Nasheed didn't. I don't know if y'all know this one guy. The Black Authority didn't interview him, but they consider themselves the new black media. So it's kind of sad that the old black media, Roland Martin, reached out and talked to him. And he was talking about other chapters are reaching out to him like, okay, we want to be part of your group. What do we need to do? And it's so military, Bragg, because you know, we will go down to other units to see if they're doing the same thing that we're doing standard. And that's one thing that's so military about them. So I don't know. Hopefully we're not losing the audience or losing y'all here as the panel in the military. So everything in the military is about uniformity, keeping up with the standard. And just hearing what he was saying about this group, I thought he was in uniform all over again. I'm like, damn, he sounded like a first sergeant, or he could have sounded like a sergeant major, or sound like a commander. I mean, I think the government, the CIA, is the last of their problems because he even admitted himself that they have insiders on the police side, even in the government. So I guarantee you, if he knows that the FBI or CIA is onto him, he's probably gonna have 10 steps ahead of him. And nowadays, if you want to do something this big and this bold, you have to have like not eyes in the back of your head anymore. You have to know what they're doing, and for you to know what they're doing, you have to have a plan. They've been doing it to us for years. I mean, they did it with
Right.
Malcolm X. They did it with Martin Luther King. Go way back to the Marcus Garveys. They did it with them. So it's
What
like,
Miss Hassani had said, you know, a militia is not new, and that's true. But
yes,
I think what's new is the mindset of this group. I think that this is something we have never seen before, and that's he even said it himself. You know, the leader. We something that nobody's seen before. And I
Better
think they're
structure, more consistency.
Well,
Yes.
what's
right.
also new? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, what's also new is what Mr. Johnson had alluded to. And what's also new is the instantaneousness of which we can get this information, right? Technology has come a long way. Everybody has a smartphone. People have tablets, right? Everybody has internet, and so the exposure that this group is able to get instantaneous from everybody. That's new, right?
Right.
Yeah, reports ran about the Haitian Revolution, right? But you might not have seen that report for 5 months, 6 months, a year, right? Depending on when news hit in your area. Now it's at the tap of a button, and so that visibility, um, um, it feels like it's in your neighborhood, right? It feels like if you look out your blinds, you're gonna see the black militia, march down the street.
Mm-hmm.
It's that close. It's that immediate,
All right.
right?
And
So it's able to stoke the fear, and the it's able to stoke fear, and able to stoke some other agitated feelings, right? And white folk, right? Immediately, from across the country and across the world, right? And it's able to hit back home in Africa, and now they're looking at us and going, man, wow,
Right.
good for y'all. You're not playing around anymore, right? And I know that I was talking to some friends, and I'm gonna wrap up. I was talking to some friends back home in Nigeria, and they had seen it, and they're like, wow, good, right? So it what's new, what's great about this is not just the mindset, right? It's the instantaneousness of which this information can hit the wire around the world.
All right. So, which lead me to this next part is, will we see
I
more?
have one.
Oh, go ahead, Teach. Go ahead, Teach.
I just wanted to look at what Professor Oates talked about, that spiritual entity, and just make that comparison between those revolts that were successful and those that were not successful. When you read history and look into the Haitian Revolution, they talked about how they called upon the African deities to be
Yep.
with them in war. And you find that not only in Haiti, but in Brazil,
Yep.
in Jamaica,
Yep.
with the Maroons and other societies. But when it comes to North America, every single revolt was either stopped before it started or squashed immediately after it started. And the major one difference that I see is that in North America, they stopped, they took the time to pray to Jesus. And when they told Jesus their plan, they were no longer victorious. And that is why you don't have any successful
Wow.
revolts in the United States. We have revolts, but
Jesus is not
none that led
responsible.
to freedom.
Jesus is not responsible. In fact, you in North America, you live better than blacks in South America. Let us and look. I would say I will one day tell you from the internal wisdom of Africa. If we don't identify our enemies, we can never defeat them. So I'm happy, the explanation you give to me now that they are ex-veteran and they are disciplined. I'm happy. I don't want black man to be like this and be receiving blows. He has to be able to fight back and defend himself. That I agree. But I pray for our ancestral, guidance. As for blacks in South America, there's nothing to write about. Nothing. No, I live here in South America. Nothing. Jesus is not responsible. Our problem is within our serving side. Huh?
But
So, well,
yeah, go ahead, Mr. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, so what I'm saying that what you have said, especially you, the host, because you are a veteran, when you tell me that, I became happy. I saw the picture, I was worried, but when I know that they are disciplined, okay, I have no problem. At least blacks have to show force. They have been ready to meet force with force. I agree, but they must be disciplined and guided.
Right.
They must have, I pray our ancestors will illuminate them and guide them. Because when you look at the poem, the Ifa, the oracle, not oracle will not always say you should carry gun against gun. At times when you read Ifa poems, you think you are reading the Bible. I've gone through all and all their legends. You need to see how the spirituality of Africa it is not in conflict with any religion. That is the cultural agreement that we need to do with African Americans.
To touch on this, because Mr. O, you said something that really touched my soul when you said that it's not Jesus' fault, it's with us. But remember, I know it's a verse in the Bible that says, "Ye are gods, we are gods." When I saw those guys marching, it goes back to when me and Cheech did a show a long time ago when she said the energy of when we was watching that video of Lovely T, where she said it's just the energy change when all the looting and all that stuff started to happen. It was just that energy. Seeing those men marching, brothers, sisters with weapons, masks, all dressed in black, all marching without no fear. If you did not feel anything from that, something's wrong. You got no soul. And I just said, look at all those gods walking, goddesses walking.
Mm-hmm.
Though I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. If you want
shadow of death, I fear no evil.
If you want to see an example, that to me will be a big ass picture of them marching to a place where the KKK was created, where they got started, where they first started to go and terrorize our ancestors, hang them, scare them from voting, scare them from even being a human being. That's deep. That's deep for me. But
let's be honest. That's taking the move out of their playbook.
Of what you said.
What's that, Mr.
Let me give you interpretation of what you just said. You said they were watching over where the KKK was founded. That is a spiritual. That is spiritual. That is a victorious work over where those who slaughtered our people used to gather. That is victory.
Yes,
that is spiritual.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Carter.
To Professor
Mr.
Professor
O.
Professor O. Professor O. That to Anita's point, what you're saying about it not being Jesus's fault, that was Professor Anita's Professor Jobs' point, right? Is that you said that we need to consult our ancestors, we need to consult our ancestral spirits, right? That was Professor Jobs' point, right? She wasn't saying that it was Jesus's fault. She was saying that that because we lacked the initiative, right, to consult our own spirituality, right, that it's our fault that we that we lost, right, because we didn't consult our own ancestors and our own deities.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Let's understand. And I'm one of those people who know that those oracle, I'm one of those saying it is not against any of our faithful practices. It's our rich heritage. I'm even calling on African to go back. So I have books on it. I have lectured white people about Yoruba cosmology and all the great poems of Ifa and their interpretation. Yeah. So you know, the 16, I know what I'm talking about. That's what I'm telling Nigerians. Let's consult our ancestors.
So for this part, I believe
Yes.
I use this analogy. This is my second time using it. We all on the same sheet of music, but we playing different instruments. If that makes sense. So we may not be on the same instrument, but we on the same sheet of music. So with that being said, here's my other part that I want to ask each and every one of you. Will there be a lot more black militias coming out? It could be
I
under
won't say
it could be under the banner of this new group. It could be, but will this inspire to have a lot more other ones come in?
this will inspire more interest and intrigue on it. If any, there may be one or two random groups that try to pop up themselves, but I feel like overall, this current organization, their structure, their discipline is a testament and a
Right.
shining example.
Right.
So I don't care how hardcore, how gangster you are, and I'm friends with official certified OG gang members, Crips and Bloods and all that. I know from them and the type of gentlemen they deal with, they would get right in line with them because they already know these cats got more skill when it comes to this than I do. So I need to follow what they talk. Yeah, we
Well,
might got our little squad or whatever, but we about to get in line with what they do. Either we gonna follow their example and do it on a local scale, or we just gonna assimilate right up with them.
I'm concerned though, in terms of militia groups popping up. I'm concerned that they wouldn't have the discipline and the structure of this particular group, right?
Exactly.
I'm concerned that there are going to be Bloods and Crips and Vice Lords and everything else, popping off, right, on the local level, right? But because they don't have the discipline and the patience, right, of this group, um, civilians can end up getting hurt, right?
But to add to go back to what Mr. Allen was saying when he's speaking on the organization, they have also a mega church or a big church convocation style with
Okay.
them. So they are big. They're a at this point nationwide organization. Correct, Mr. Allen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I believe that they will. It may be one or two groups that try to mimic,
Right.
but
But
I
they wouldn't
truly
last.
feel that you will start seeing more chapters under the NFAC progress. Now,
Okay.
you're going to start having more and more chapters in different areas across America, um, and just and you guys talking made me think about how just like Black Lives Matter, and they NFAC make it clear that they have no affiliation with Black Lives Matter whatsoever. Uh, and my point was the fake Russian media and hacks have also started saying, they go on and they start saying negative things about, and they say fake words to make the opposite think that Black Lives Matter is full of hate, and they steal all this fake stuff and rumors and lies. And we're gonna start seeing that. You're gonna start seeing all these
Right.
hacks coming in,
Yeah.
these Russian bots or whoever you want to call them,
Yeah.
start infiltrating, trying to spread bad things to make them look bad. So be prepared to hear that. But you
Now to
have to
answer your
be willing to
Oh, they're
go
already out there.
beyond.
Yeah,
Yeah,
They're
now to
they're
already
answer
already
out
your
out
there.
there.
question, Mr. Carter, to answer you, as far as like in response to the gangs, with that organization being nationwide and them actually being on that church mentality, they will send out delegates
Right.
to the areas. So
Uh,
if they
uh,
hear about individuals popping up, I foresee this organization being the type of organization that will, go send out a recon team. And if they willing, if they willing to get in line and fall in, Because if y'all, especially if y'all claiming what we doing, then all right, follow the structure, fill out the paperwork, and we move forward. If not, hey,
Get out the way.
well, either
Right.
get out the way or start hiding, nigga. Because
And
don't be surprised if the police start popping up more frequent.
and check this out.
But doesn't the NOI have a
Um,
military arm?
Go
Go ahead,
ahead, Mr.
teacher.
The
Professor.
Nation of Islam. Don't they have a military arm?
They do have
They
a
do.
level of
They
they
do.
do have a level of military protection. It's not
Yeah,
like full blown, but it's like it's there.
but that's
I'm of the
go ahead, Mr.
I'm of the opinion. Yes,
Professor.
there will be look, from my bit of knowledge. There will be many more, and not necessarily black alone. Everywhere any group feel oppressed in a free country, they will rise up. So what we have to pray for is that at least for the black people, we must be disciplined.
Yeah.
America is too diverse. There will be more. And that is the beginning. Is the beginning of an internal revolution.
Yeah. And so which
I agree.
one thing that y'all also missing in this part is look at the McVeighs of the world. Let's who was another one that was notorious as like Timothy McVeigh?
Unabomber. Are we just talking from that particular race or just anybody outside of ours?
I would say particularly outside of ours. Look how Timothy McVeigh, how
Uh,
he became to be. He was
Bundy.
reading a book. I forgot
Yeah.
what that book, what book he was reading. But guess what? He was also prior military himself.
Mm-hmm.
So let's think about that one soldier that got out and he see all this going on. What makes you think that I can get with this gang, the Crips or the Bloods or whatever gang that's on their street? Like, hey, how about I can train you? Or any of y'all ever watched that old school movie? Brad he probably seen it. Cheech probably seen it. You ever saw the spook that sat beside sell the step or something like that? I forgot what it's called.
The spook that's
Said
outside the door.
at the
Yes,
door.
Yeah, I've seen it.
that movie right there, like still to this day, even the people that was in the movie itself still is like thinking like, why would they put out a movie like that? The full blueprint, like the blueprint on how black people should organize and how they should attack the system. And I don't know if this group watched that movie. I refer anybody, many people that look like us to watch that movie because the guy he was he was training for to becoming an FBI agent, and it was already a setup from like the beginning when they had that little party of them drinking and all that stuff. And dude already knew the deal. He knew that he was being watched. He knew that everything he was doing is what's going to be monitored and noted. Put him in
Right.
situations to see how he's going to react. But then this man was like, you know what? I'm gonna learn this so I can take it back to the hood. I won't say to the hood, but like back to my people, teach them. And he just didn't teach anybody. He went to the people that was, yes, they was doing bad. They was hustling on the streets, but he knew who he can get to
Right.
because when he
Mm-hmm.
would train them and tell them, 10 meters, there's 10 meters between the freaking light poles and all that stuff, how to shoot, how to fight, actually fight. Get those guys that's already got their feet in the streets, already got their ears to the ground. Get them because they can easily recruit others. And if you have somebody like that, who knows? That could be going on right now. Like
I'm a test subject of it. I can tell you that.
yeah,
And I tell everyone, martial science, martial arts, any form of fighting sciences is one of the best forms of self-restraint because you will be surprised how calm an individual becomes once they learn over 30 different ways to kill you just by attacking your neck.
and then going back to what Mr. O was saying about discipline, that's the one thing in that movie this brother was leaning on. discipline, discipline, discipline. Because at the end of the movie, he had to kill one of his friends because he was trying to figure out who was leading this group. And then he figured out that it was him. And then when he killed his friend, who I think he was the chief of the police, his boys came to come get the body. And once again, he teaches them again, like, look, you never know. The person next to you could be a snitch. And you probably might have to take them out. It could be the person that you are super close with. Both of your wives could be best friends, or your kids could be friends with their kids. But you could end up taking them out because they stopped in the movement. They're stopping the calls. And he said, it could be me. They could have got me. And if you believe that is me, I want you to take me out. But you stay.
But that's the mentality that you have to have, though. Like, that's honestly the mentality you have to have, especially when you're dealing with subject matter and situations like this. You have to be that cold and that brutally honest with not just yourself, first and foremost, with everyone else that's involved. Hey, man, if this thing go left, I use the zombie zombie method. If we actually had a zombie outbreak and I get bit, give me everything that blows up. I'm gonna give you my bullets and gun, and y'all run.
Right.
Because it's gonna be a big old boom boom.
Right. Unless go ahead.
Let me make this quick point. We was talking about other groups popping up. Now, the one thing they and Mr. O, he'll love this, that Mr. O like to say, you know, he had to start with fix the black community first. They are very outspoken about things going on in the black community by the black people. So if those personnel, those gang bangers and all those, you know, groups, if they can't get with the program and they're fighting against the cause, then that could be another conflict of interest, you know, because you got a lot of gang bangers that may not be able to lawfully carry a firearm and may not be able to get with the program. So, you know, they're going to start trying to clean up some of these neighborhoods and communities. So that may be a conflict right there between the
Well, just like you mentioned earlier, though, if I could jump in, just like you mentioned earlier, when it came to the marching, those that can't legally own carry, they have the right to march along with them. Y'all just have to be in the back.
Yep.
Right. But are they going to be willing to fall in line without the weapon?
Now, when it comes to the other fact, if they're that structured on that end, every other thing was like, all right, well, you still trying to get in line. All right, you can't be out here because you got a record or whatever. All right. Well, you can still help with the recruiting. You can still help on this aspect. But just when it comes to you walking around with a pistol, when you dealing with us, that's not gonna happen.
All right, go ahead.
Still willing to work, it's gonna be like that.
What about offering legal services for expungement? It seemed like that would be a great opportunity to bring in whatever state to get their things expunged so they can be legal.
Anything to add, Mr.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a good point. They should have some legal advisors.
Yeah.
That makes them a civilized group. That they're fighting for a right.
If you got Army veterans, I assume there's at least one lawyer or two doctors in the midst of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Trust me,
I think too, they should have a psychologist too between them with them. They have to be mentally prepared for their cause.
That many black people organized together with guns, legal guns, having the legal right, I can safely assume and presume.
I don't think it's safe to assume, though, man. I mean, I don't think that we should be assuming anything, right? I think that that's something that we ought to get information on, so that we can know for sure. You know, that they have, you know, a psychologist, that they have, you know, physicians, and that they have lawyers, right? Within their rank.
And
I'm not talking about blind.
If they do,
what's like going off. I'm just saying, like, conversation.
And
But I
one
agree
more,
with you, though, Mr.
and
Carter.
Right.
one more. They need to have thinkers. Few people
Okay.
that can think.
Psychologists and philosophers.
Thinkers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, psychology can
For-
guide you cyclically,
Yeah,
but
I
you
think
need thinkers, philosophers.
Go ahead,
They're the one that can push,
I think that
that can guide them, illuminate
I
them.
think to be well organized,
Thinkers. Very important.
to have in the but
You're breaking up.
designated with the office that handles the legal issues is another thing. So, to be wild card, oh, I know some doctors and lawyers in here. That's not what we need. We need to clearly identify people with those skills that can act in that capacity, to have some official standing, that if legally something comes up, they can legally address it instead of wild card. Oh, I think he's a lawyer, or I practice law, or
Right.
I was disbarred from law. To have someone designated on the rolls as XYZ person that fulfills this particular capacity.
Right.
Like I was saying, Mr. Carter, just for the sake of this conversation, I can safely assume that, but we will honestly do the due diligence to find that this is the particular individual.
Yeah, Mr. Brett, go ahead and add on to that.
I was just trying to say that
me?
No,
when you have professionals within the ranks, you have to be very careful that they're not retaliated against in their profession, in a professional setting, because they're affiliated with those groups.
That is a good point as well.
You have a lot of haters out there that would, do wrong by them just because they are affiliated with that organization.
Right, which is why they wear the face mask and the attire, right? To have some sort of
but to physically put names out there on the rolls and stuff, they have to be very cautious.
Yeah, and see,
good point.
Which I was about to say from my end before we take a little break is I can see it on both ends. I can see it on Beast Johnson. I can see it on your end, Mr. Carter. Is that I know for sure that they have legal backing, that they have financial backing, just in case anything, as they say, goes left, as they would say nowadays. But then on your side, Carter, that I understand too, is like I would love to know who is going to represent me when I'm, I get arrested and I'm sitting at the court. I want to know who is defending me is the best of the best of the best, because I'm already 3 strikes in, because number 1, I'm black, number 2, I'm peacefully protesting, and number 3, I got a firearm. So you are
like a secret society.
Let me put some salt. Let me put some salt. When you get a lawyer, make sure it's in the Grand Mezzi. Finish. It will give you a good defense. They are connected everywhere.
It's similar to being in a secret society, but there ain't no ring or medallion, nothing to let you know, hey, he one of them. So it's like, hey, what's the code? What do I need to do to let me know we on the same team here? Like what baseball call do I need to hit? Is it the ball? Let me on the gang sign. Let me know the gang sign. What I need to throw up to let me know. We here.
So speaking of we're here, there's a network coming up in the middle of July, ladies and gentlemen, and we just going to remind you. So we just going to take this short little break and we'll be right back. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, look out for the Wet Network. This is where I'm going to let Beast Johnson go ahead and explain it a little bit more.
Oh, well, the Wet Network, in a sense, is a revitalization of the Black entertainment television. We are going to bring you all the quality stuff you've been missing, you've been lacking, and you really been wanting to see. But it's not just for the black voice, even though it is primarily for the black voice. We have programming of all diverse levels because we in America, we not the only ones we see every day. So we trying to show you what we see and what we go through and what we have to truly offer. And that involves bringing y'all to the table as well. We got a lot of good shows lined up for you. I'm gonna put a little plug out here for any extra creators and content makers. This is your opportunity to shine. This is your opportunity to show what you really want. We controlling the narrative from all aspects, and it starts here at the Web Network.
But there you go. That's a good plug. And we're gonna let y'all know that we're still in the test phase. But once we get everything out there, we will let you know. So now going back to the subject at hand. So
One quick question. Hold on. One quick question.
yes,
So
Mr.
Yes, sir.
Carter.
off topic, slightly off topic, but Professor O, how do you pronounce your name?
As Otitigbe
Okay.
Obadiah Owerore Alegbe.
Thank you.
Well, there you go. So I'm gonna go a little bit off topic here, and this is mainly for Mr. Carter. So ADOS, I've been tracking that since they first.
Why is that gotta be for me?
So
What have you heard?
before I continue with this, have anybody else heard of ADOS?
Why
No,
is that
but I'm
for
going to
me?
tell you right now, just off
What
his
have you
response.
heard?
Your
So,
response just has me totally intrigued. I'm
so
in. What's up?
Yeah, I know they are.
yeah, ADOS has been going on for a year and a half now.
Whew.
At first, when I first heard about it, I was like, okay, we got something going on here. But then, just like anything else, you start to see the flaws within it. It seems like you've been seeing a lot going on with it because then you got the FBA, the Fundamentally Black Association.
No, they're
Foundational.
Black Americans. Is what they
Yeah.
thought.
So
Yes.
what is your take on that?
Wow. Wow. Can we just stick to the military stuff? No.
Let's say
Okay.
I was told by a secret source to ask you that.
Yeah, I know. I know who told you that. Thank you, Auntie.
You're welcome.
Okay, so man, I'm on record. I'm on record now. It's not just a Facebook thing.
And also on Twitter.
No, okay, so ADOS, the man, wow. What they're called? What ADOS is called is American Descendants of slaves, right? So you have ADOS, you have ADCS or whatever, American Descendants Chattel Slavery, and then you have the splinter group, the Foundation of Black Americans, and so ADOS is a group that formed because of Yvette Carnell and Antonio Moore. Antonio Moore is a. Say what? What did you say?
AKA Tone Talks.
Yes, Tone Talks, right? My perception of them, honestly, they're misguided. They're misguided.
What is the basis of their goal or mission?
So the
Help
basis
us
of
understand.
okay, so the basis of their goal, what they want you to believe, what they'll say is that they're just a reparations group, right? They want for Black Americans to receive reparations, but they've strayed left of that, right, into an anti Black immigrant group, right, or into anti-Black immigrant territory. whom they say are taking Black American jobs. They also display a level of um, ethnocentrism in being Black Americans, right? So many of them say that they're not African, right? That they may have some African ancestry, but they're not African, right? That their identity started when they hit these shores. Um, and their motives is complex. The rhetoric is many times very anti-African, very anti-Afro diaspora outside of Black America. Um, Foundational Black Americans actually splintered off of ADOS due to some internal political strife between them.
Let me go
Okay,
ahead and
so they started out as a reparations group, but they kind of started leaning towards being anti-African immigrants.
Right.
And then they're claiming that they're not African, their roots began in America.
Right.
And then
Well.
they're anti.
Their roots begin in America, insofar as after they step off the boat, right? But then you have some AOS who are part of other groups like the African American ain't Black or African Americans ain't African groups, right? Who they don't believe that they um, are Africans to begin with, right? They believe that they are the original Native Americans. So you have all these different, I'll call them American-born African American tribes, right? Um,
And
um,
these are the groups that refuse to take a DNA test too, right?
the other groups do, yeah. I can't say that for ADO for those who claim specifically ADOS or foundational Black Americans, but I can say that for African Americans and African, because they refuse to take DNA tests because they claim that they're indigenous to America, right? They claim that they are Aboriginal Americans. The Moors, right? They refuse to take them. Then you got some other ones, but yeah, yeah,
Their
yeah.
rhetoric sounds very reminiscent of white middle America. In place of the Mexicans,
Yep,
you have the Africans.
yep,
They're taking our jobs.
right. And in fact, you have well, I don't want to speak too heavily on somebody else, and so yeah, it does. It very much does uh, sound like, and it's reminiscent of white America, right? And even the rhetoric, right? I mean,
They're taking.
yeah,
it,
yeah.
it's even
They don't need to be here. You're taking our jobs. Like
But this
that.
goes back into the whole
Well,
militancy, though, right? So this goes back into
well,
into militant Black America, right? Because they are militant, in their identity, right? And part of that militancy, part of that militancy is saying that we are not what you think we are, right? White America, because in one sense they're speaking to white America, saying you're not going to define us,
right.
right? And in another sense, they speak to Black America and say, hey, by the way, this is who we are, right? This is who we are, and these groups is what we find superior, right? Because which is in part one of the reasons why they don't want to associate to their African origins, right? Because they've bought into the myth and the narrative that everything but African is right, right? Is superior, right? And in fact, if they did their research, their genealogy research, if they did DNA testing, right, they would find not only uh, uh, do they have African ancestry, but they have African ancestry ranging the continent, right? So African Americans aren't just and if they understood genetic science, or if they understood genetics as base, and they were able to read journal articles, right? And then they would be able to read some of these studies that have been done over and over and over and over again, that say that, hey, Black Americans are Africans, period. Right?
Yeah.
Now we're admixed, right? We have some white in us. We have maybe a hitch of Native American, 0.08, I believe, right, percent, right? If any Native American, but for the most part, we're African, right? And like,
Yeah.
again, it spans the continent from Senegal all the way to Madagascar, right?
Everyone's
But
Um,
mixed due to slavery.
right, and
Yes.
see,
uh,
So if you're black, you're pretty much from
I
Africa.
understand.
yeah.
I
Go ahead, Michelle.
understand both sides. I understand both sides, and they are not wrong. I know she's struck to all of you. I agree with those who say African, the Africans. I also agree with those who say they are not African. And they gave some points. All of you are aborigine of America. Of course, recognizing your African roots. That is very plausible because the African gene never rejects its own. Just like my son, born here in Argentina of a white mother, but he doesn't he feel he belongs here. He's Africa and of my tribe. Well, because I transmitted those values. So there's nothing wrong with them. I don't, and in fact, they should grow. It will help repair some of these damages we are trying to repair today.
Yes.
Maybe in the long run, they will understand
Hopefully.
that no matter what they call themselves, the spirit of Africa, that is the rebellious spirit of those first to leave the
Yes.
continent, continue to be in them.
And
But we cannot force them to
to
claim
see.
another
Yes,
identity.
I agree. Well, I partially agree. Yeah, I partially agree, right? Because that tribalism that they're displaying, right? That is African, right? Them, them saying, hey, that tribalism that they're displaying, that's African, right? That is a part of them that they don't recognize, as African, but is still innately African. But also,
Yes,
if Professor O, Dr. O, were to take an ancestry DNA test or a 23andMe DNA test, he would find relatives, right?
yes,
In
that is true.
America who are his fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth cousins, right?
Yes, 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 that's true.
Depending on what state are you from in Nigeria? How far west?
I'm from the Niger Delta.
Oh, okay.
I'm from the Niger Delta. I told you guys that my tribe did not participate in slavery. We were never
Right.
conquered. We did not sell our own. We are a very small tribe, but we are children of the king. So we don't sell our own. You cannot sell a prince or a
So what
princess.
is so
We
what
did.
is your what is your tribe?
My tribe is called Urobo.
Orobo.
It contains
Aha.
about Urobo, about 15
Okay.
kingdoms.
Right. Okay. So I have some news for you. I have Orobo cousins. So even though you didn't
Yeah,
participate in slavery,
but
some
your
some
Robo
people.
cousin, but your Robo cousin, no, you can't tell me that. I know my roots. I
No,
know my roots.
I'm not explaining.
So you may
I'm not
have
explaining to you your
today
roots.
we have cousin up and down because 5 generations back already, after slavery, a lot of people
Right.
travel. A lot of people travel for
I got you.
education. So,
Right.
in 1900, there was a Yoruba that went, he studied in the University of Cambridge, and instead of coming to Nigeria, he went to Brazil. So we have others who left.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
Yoruba, so we did not participate in slavery. We no
No,
no
I'm not.
not because
No,
because we are in the creeks.
I'm not
Nobody
saying
could
that you
die.
participated. I'm not saying that you participated.
Uh,
I didn't say that. Right,
okay.
but I didn't say that you.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't say that you willingly
That's
participated.
something
I have a
Yeah.
question. I
Yes,
have
No.
a question.
yes,
All right, go ahead, Johnson.
Is when I hear Professor O make that statement, a lot of blacks say, I'm not African. You have that kind of dissension within the ranks. And Teach made a point about Africa being the only continent that's actually anchored to the earth. Have I heard that correctly?
Yes, that's
With,
correct. That's all.
and what?
All the
And
other continents
yeah,
float. Africa is the only continent that is rooted.
okay. And what I
yes.
remember, Pangea.
All
I,
mankind is from
yeah,
Africa.
I remember
All mankind.
Pangea all the is prior to what we see now. So maybe it's just the weed
Yes.
head in me, but I put all that together mixed with the genealogy because what I've noticed is blacks take the test and they find out they got a little white, a little European in them,
Yeah.
but Europeans take them
There,
and they find
there is
out they got some
almost no
African in them.
pure race in the
Well,
world.
that's because okay.
That's what I'm laughing.
So
Yeah. So
where we
by
where
that
we
logic, I look at it like everybody's
Look,
actually African, like because Africa
that is
is the
the
heart of the world and is the
is the
center of
world,
yeah,
is the
Pangea.
root,
it is
Everything
is
branched
the
off
cradle of
from
mankind.
Africa.
right.
And
Okay.
Yes,
every
So
sense
it is
of
the
the
cradle
word,
of
everything
mankind.
branched off from Africa. So
right.
that's
Well,
how I see it when I
Yes,
hear
yeah,
people saying,
there's no
I
doubt
look at it
about
like you're being stupid.
it.
From a geological standpoint, you're African. From a
well, can I?
Yes,
technological standpoint, you're African. Everything
Right.
that has existed up until now has breached out of Africa.
Right. Can I add on to that?
that I agree.
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
agree.
Okay.
But those
Okay.
not
So
to identify. They have the right not to identify
Okay, Carter,
themselves.
go ahead. Go ahead.
It's a
okay.
free
Go
world.
ahead.
Okay. So I agree with you that you have the right to identify yourself. Um. Um. Now to add on to what you were saying in terms of Pangea, when Pangea was around, that was millions and millions, tens of millions of
Mhm.
years ago, right? Humans didn't exist then at all by
Okay.
any stretch of the imagination, right? So and I hear that a lot, right? Well, um, we're we're I can't get the words out. Basically, we're indigenous to the world because Pangea, right? But Pangea, during that time, there were no humans around. In terms of everybody in the world coming from Africa, that is absolutely right. Actually, the current research says that everybody can trace their roots in terms of white people and people who are not who aren't black, right? Can trace their roots to Botswana, right?
Yes, South
Botswana,
Africa,
right?
Southern
Uh,
Africa. Yes.
right to northern Botswana basin, to the
A
Khoisan,
woman, a woman.
right, right, and the Y chromosome, the oldest Y chromosome, is actually in Cameroon, right, in the Mbo people, MBO,
Okay.
um, so everybody is from Africa. Now,
Everybody
where
down road there.
right now where white people take these DNA tests and they get some black in them, right? That's because of slavery, right?
No,
That's because of
no, no,
slavery.
no, 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 no.
That's always
Because
been
our
my thought as
history did not
well.
start with
Okay,
our
so
history did not
The
start with
mixture of
slavery only
ancestries that you
in
find amongst
yes,
every is due to slavery. I've
well,
always felt that way.
no,
in terms of
our,
America,
our history did not start with slavery. No.
Okay, so
So
okay,
There has been mixed up
so
between
let
white
me.
and black for thousands of years.
All right, so
Not
let me
now.
interject. So
we're
let
not. Yeah,
so
go
let me
ahead.
go
interject.
ahead.
So let me go ahead. So let me interject. So Mr. O, so what you're saying is slavery has nothing to do with it with them finding out, like white people finding out that they have black in them, or vice versa, that black found out that they got white in
Oh,
their DNA. Slavery has nothing to do with that.
nothing to do, nothing to do. Because Africans have been being in Europe before slavery. Look, London, there was a section of black people that went with Julius Caesar when he conquered London. They were warriors. There were black knights with the Vikings. That is why you have the surname black, brown, squatch, more, no, more. Because black people that have traveled to Europe, and Europe was always in war. So there is a black DNA in all of them. That's why we say, look, no, even in Africa, you go to the jungle, you see DNA, you will see some white people's DNA inside.
All right. So to add
No,
to add on to what you were saying, because what you're saying is true, ladies and gentlemen. Just to put it,
I was going to say the same thing.
because there's a thing
Yes.
called the Moors.
Okay, I'm on this radio show. Tell them to come on in.
The Moors
the Queen of England
were the ones.
has an ancestor from Ethiopia. The Queen of England has an ancestor
Because
from Ethiopia.
because everything that what
Okay.
Joe was saying is the Moors were the one that taught the British mathematics, how to wash their hands, a whole lot of things that definitely
Right,
stopped
but the Moors are from the Madrid, right? They're from Northern Africa. They're not.
No,
They're
they
not.
were from North Africa. They were from North Africa that conquered southern Spain.
That's what I just said. And
Yeah.
so in terms of the recent ancestry of white folk in America, taking ancestry DNA tests and or 23andMe and finding out they have admixture of white in them, it is from slavery. Now, in terms of everybody coming from Africa at 50,000 years ago, 60,000 years ago, 100,000 years ago, how they figured that out is through the mtDNA marker, called mitochondrial DNA, and Y DNA. Right, they have markers that every few thousand years, right, they mutate, and so they're able to trace those back into Africa. That's how that's happened.
I understand.
In terms of
right.
Could you explain to us,
there were some
hold on.
Could you explain to us the?
Oh, Mr. What were you saying, Teach?
Could you explain to us about the Eve gene? And do you remember my DNA report?
You talking about E1B1A? What are you talking about?
The L1.
Yeah.
The Eve gene.
Oh, Eve, mitochondrial Eve. Oh, okay, I got you. Okay,
yes.
So mitochondrial Eve is the oldest woman, whom we share mitochondrial DNA with. Right? No. Now there were other women, right, around. Her DNA is just the DNA that survived, right, to our modern day we can trace back to. Now she was around about 120,000 years ago, and so everybody can trace everybody on Earth can trace their ancestry back to her, and she's African, right? She's a South African, Khoisan.
Yes, South African woman. There's a woman in South Africa. No, it's traced not to South Africa, a black woman. And look, when I was lecturing my student university, when I lecture a special subject, the 10 numbers, do you people know that the first arithmetic calculator was by African women?
I mean,
I
showed it to my students. They were looking at me.
That only proves my earlier statement. Everything comes out of Africa.
Yes, everything comes out of Africa.
Yeah, look,
right.
Around Burundi,
everything
they
that
find
we have,
something.
Everything that we have, everything that we do, majority of it comes from Africa. To the things that we wear, even,
At this point, if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, from everything that they allowed us to learn, compiled with that all the knowledge we willingly sought out, compiled with the knowledge that fell into our laps, it is everything came out of every facet and entity of your life from the dawn of existence came from Africa. Every concept, mathematics, sciences came out of Africa. Yes, we were taught by white people, but now we are finding out that those white people were taught by black men and black women.
Well, even Socrates himself said that, right? So Socrates himself said that the Greeks learned their mathematics from the Egyptians, right?
Because they were slaves, they developed geometry in Egypt. The Greeks, they were slaves.
So
that's where they developed.
Right. So, Mr. Brad,
But I'm talking about the art of adding, of calculating. I showed my students, look, let me tell you, give me 2 minutes. In around Burundi, they found some sticks, not one, many, marked with 29 marks. And it dates 40,000 years. What do you think it is? Many sticks, but each one marked 29, has 29 points. And it dates 40,000 years.
I would just surmise it's
There's
either
a calendar?
Of what?
February, because February got 29 days.
Yeah. I was gonna say ruling.
No.
I was gonna say some form of measuring.
Yeah, measuring what?
Eons.
So it's like some form of ruler.
No, it's a counter.
It's a calendar. What is it measuring? Like every 10,000 years? Is it measuring every time it takes?
Believe that it was done by women. Then what does it mean?
A menstruation cycle?
That women are the greatest.
You are laughing.
Nah, he said I'm right.
All my students, I Whites University. When I told them, they were looking at me. I showed them the picture.
Wow.
They discovered it a few years ago. It discovered a few years ago.
So it was their menstruation cycle. Wow.
Huh?
So you say it was their menstruation cycle? Wow.
As a disclaimer, women who are watching this show right now, no offense, that's just historical fact.
Right.
To add to that historical fact, a little novel joke. I have a novelty shirt that says, "I have the dick, so I make the rules." Gets a lot of attention. Gets a lot of, especially from strong-minded women like Teach. It definitely breeds a conversation, and that's really why I wear it. And I don't wear it in defense. I wear it to bring conversation.
I'm so mad that
I was wearing it at a show. On tour,
actually,
and I had
she really did.
Yeah. Like, there's a point to it. I had a group of a group on a date night walk by me, and they saw the shirt. And they was having a conversation. I said, "Yeah, y'all drink it in. I'm gonna give y'all something to talk about tonight. Y'all read the shirt." And the women, of course, got mad, and I explained to them, historically speaking, every major law and impactful law, the majority of them have been made by men. Now, the influence of those laws has been made by the woman. So yeah, dick might make the rules, but pussy is the greatest influence of it all. It's like you.
No, because
they look at me like, if you want to get mad, I'm like, if you don't believe me, go look at Helen of Troy.
women create tradition.
A woman
created tradition.
Oh my God.
A woman so beautiful that 10,000 men went to go get it. Like, imagine that.
So
imagine me telling y'all brothers,
Okay,
hey man, I need y'all to go over here and get this.
I have one for you.
Go ahead.
You may be hard, but it takes a woman to make it soft.
True.
Yeah, that's true. That is one.
I like that one. Need to go on the shirt. Yeah, that need to go on the shirt for a female.
When she's a real woman.
What are you washing your hands of this? Are you washing your hands of this conversation? He's like, I ain't got nothing to do with this no more.
Look, I was
boy, just had a long time ago. I'm surprised he ain't eating nothing snacking.
I got my hand sanitizer, okay? Hey, look.
Attention, everybody. Attention, everybody. Attention, all the viewers. If you black, you know this what we do when we get around each
Right.
other. No matter how serious we are, no matter how
We try.
tough life is, we gotta find a joke. We
Right.
gotta have a good laugh in
Yes.
there.
So
You
Yes.
can't
now,
We
laugh,
go off
you ain't
tangents.
living.
so now we enter
Welcome
into
to
like
Black
the
Caucus.
final. So we head into our final segment that's going to lead into the final thought. So my last question on this topic before going into the final thought is with this militias probably going to be probably going to be under this umbrella and more that's different from it's about to come up. What will happen if we have more militias grow? How will the world react? Going back to what Bragg said at first,
Mm.
how that's going to impact the world, like, and also Black Lives Matter, even though they have no affiliation with Black Lives Matter, how is that going to affect their movement and what they want? Because Black Lives Matter, we already know what they want, but what do these militia want? Because theirs could be way different from theirs.
I feel like the actions, the rise of it will not really be an issue because we've seen the rise of militias on the white side, on the far right. We've seen that over the years of different groups and splinter groups and tangents popping up. And it all boils down to your actions and your mission. So as long as their actions don't come off and don't get viewed in a negative light by anyone, and they're not going out of their way to be malicious or evil, then people will at least hear them out. And as long as their mission has truth and validity and logic, they may get some support. But those that everyone's expecting to be the extremists, their actions will show that they have no true mission other than chaos and violence, and they'll fall to the wayside like all the other white ones that we seen pop up and then fall off.
Anybody got anything else to add?
Yeah, let me say this. Uh, he made it very clear, and he being the leader of the NFAC, that nobody speaks for him, and that will dispel a lot of rumors and false doctrine that that whoever put out. He says whatever he has to put out, he'll put out. Even when there was Stone Mountain, Georgia, white guy had asked a question, sitting in his vehicle, and he said, "Nobody talks but me." And if he don't put somebody else out there to talk, he's going to speak for himself. And so I think that'll dispel a lot of different rumors and make, a lot of people have hijacked Black Lives Matter. I talked to a brother the other day. He didn't even know that was an organization. He just thought it was a statement. So, uh, so I think this is going to be a different organization as far as, like, nobody's going to be able to hijack their mission, and then he speaks for himself. That would dispel a lot of things.
Go ahead, Teach. You was about to say something.
I was going to say that for the immediate future, unless they have a plan, um, I don't see. I just don't see it because I'll say one, because I'm really ignorant of who they are and what they stand for, and I can only draw back on the KKK. When they organized, they had a specific mission, and they led a campaign called Redemption. And that redemption campaign was to take back the South. So with this group, apart from them organizing and showing up in different spots, what is their mission? What are they organized to fulfill? And that's what I don't know. So them organizing, I might say, okay, that's good for the future if they're ever needed. Um, but I don't know. I don't know. I just, with our history, we have not used violence in this nation to advance our cause. So if they are organized to use violence to advance a cause, that is new because we have not used that as a means. We've always used um, I can't even say the words. Um,
Peaceful
nonviolence,
nonviolence.
nonviolence.
Um,
Yeah, but
well,
that's not it. It's not violence, but it attracts violence.
Yes.
And it's a phrase, and it's eluding me right now. It's eluding me right now.
Um.
So that would be a whole change and shift in our mentality, a change and shift in how we handle conflict resolution.
Right. I'm.
I will.
Hmm.
I,
Oh, okay. Um, I am. So here's my concern, right? If we do go down, if eventually it does lead to tackling these issues with some level of violence, my concern is that we're outnumbered, right? Still, right? There's 44 million of us, but not everybody is in the militia. Um, and there's a whole lot more white folk and even some Hispanic folk, but white folk who are willing to go into the territory of violence, then we are in number. So my concern is just the it becoming a civil war.
To answer, oh, go ahead,
yeah,
Mr. All about to answer,
yes.
to answer Mr. Carter. I was going to say, going back to what he said, structure and knowing your history and observing the successful actions of other races. Seeing how, when the Mexicans said we're not going to work, it was a unified front, and they let it be known it can get worse. So if it actually gets to some level of violence, I feel it will only be used to that level, at the minimal level, while executing other forms of nonviolent and passive aggressive tactics to prove our case. Because, like I
Right,
say, not everyone is armed,
right,
but they've admitted that we got people on the inside. So if they're willing to admit we got people on the inside on the important things, you can assume they got people on the inside for the most mundane and trivial. And if you attack at every facet to prove your point will get proven rather quickly. If you show a minimal level of actual violence while having peaceful protests, while executing and activating whatever sleeper agents and sleeper cells that you have set up across the various institutions and industries on a coordinated single front, single event, that proves that point.
Anything you gotta add?
okay.
Uh,
Oh,
yes. Just our sister said, we want to know their goal. I will add that they need a set of codes that guide them. After they tell us really their goal, then we have to know, they have to have their codes. Look, the Egyptians were many, but Moses, when he left the Hebrews in the desert, he gave them a set of codes, the 10 Commandments, to prevent them from eating each other in the desert. So this group, let us know their goal. I'm happy that many of them are veterans, which means they are disciplined, but they have to have a code. And it is with that code that the whole world will look at them. I will not put out this fire. I will not be the pacifist. I'm happy they exist, but let them tell us
Okay.
their
Right.
goal.
I'm on that.
There you
I
go.
agree.
So
Yeah,
now,
I agree.
like I said, one thing I do like about the show that we all have our different views, but we all looking at the prize. Like for example, every time Mr. O, when even though he has a different perspective on things, but he is, and I use this analogy just not just for him, but mainly for him, is we on the same sheet of music, but he's playing the drums.
Yeah.
Beach Johnson's
I'm
on the
on
bass.
bass.
Yeah, he's on the
Now,
bass.
I'll
Carter,
take the bass because I'm the one that be quick to be like, no, Mr. O has a point. He has a point when it comes to this.
and then Alan, he's on lead guitar. Then we got Cheech, she's the lead vocals. Me, I'm on the keys. And then we got Carter as a guest singer too. So I mean, we all are on the same sheet of music, but we play our role. So so that's one thing that I can agree and say on this show. We may not agree, but guess what? We're doing this going the right direction rather than just staying with the problem. So
Can I clarify something to Dr. O?
yeah, go ahead.
Just so there's no misunderstanding. Dr. O, my
Yeah.
point in saying that I have Orobo relatives was not to say
Yes.
that the Orobo participated in slavery, right? But rather to say that some got caught up, right? Some were still kidnapped, right? Not that they participated,
okay.
because participating is very different from being kidnapped.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So
Yes, there is a special case.
right.
Not that they were sold of witchcraft. When women use witchcraft to disturb the people, that is, they expel the woman and her husband and the children to a tribe called Calabar, and then the Calabar do what they want. The reason why it did not fall was because 200 years before slavery, the Urobos decapitated all their kings because they were very cruel. I think that some people might have seen the future. So in the villages were headed by the oldest man. So it is for the oldest man, for the father of the village, to sell his children.
Right.
2 centuries before, they decapitated all the kings. That is why possibly we did not fall into the hand of slavery, because nobody will sell his son.
And the thing is, you gotta admire Mr. Joe dedication. Like when you talk about people, like stop it. You wouldn't be talking about like that. I gotta get hand to Mr. O. He's like, look here, like it's my people.
Right.
But you know what, though? Right. You know what Professor O was doing? Professor O is exhibiting and showcasing the type of pride and self-love and self-knowledge that we as Black Americans on our end, we need to reclaim and get to his level. Yes. Some of us are there. Some of us are beginning the journey. But, Brother O, let me be the first to tell you, regardless of how people tell you, man, you live and die for your peoples. And that's the type of love and pride that we as Black people over here need to get.
Yeah.
So if don't nobody else get anything else from Mr. O, get that.
Yeah, because unfortunately we will go hard for like our favorite football teams or our certain basketball players, but we don't do that for our own people that we grew up with or them that look exactly like us. So seeing that, Mr. I can admire that. And with that, we're gonna go to the final thought, and our guest, Mr. Carter, will open it up for us for our final thought.
About anything?
No. This is just your final thought. So basically, like the opening statements. But
okay, yeah. I know, but my final thought about anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
okay. So
about anything. So we about to jump into it right now.
Okay. Cool. So Okay. So first off, I want to thank the panel for having me on today. I really enjoyed the talk. I really enjoyed just being around people, right? Being around Black folk from many different perspectives. Um, I guess my final thought is this. We live in a day and age in which technology now allows us to find out where we come from and explore genealogy, take DNA tests, and even connect back to our roots in Africa. So my final thought is that we should explore that, right? We should figure out who our people are, right? We're more than just Black Americans. We're more than just African Americans, right? We come from Orobo, we come from Yoruba, we come from Igbo, we come from Efik and Wolof and the 3,000 other tribes. And now that we are in a day and age in which we can explore that, we should. Um, that's my final thought, right? That there are many DNA tests out. You have AfroRootsDNA.com, which is a Black-owned autosomal DNA company that tells you all the tribes in your DNA, right? We have African Ancestry.com, which does Y and YDNA and mtDNA testing. To look for one ancestor on your YDNA and one ancestor on your mtDNA. And that's Black owned. We have at Ancestry.com. We have or AncestryDNA.com. We have 23andMe, which I recommend as well. I recommend both of those. We now and again we live in a DNA. We live in an age where everybody can be a Alex Haley. Everybody can trace back to their tribe and their actual relatives across the African continent, or who are fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth cousins. These are your blood cousins, right? I went to Nigeria in 2017 and actually went to my village, went to one of the villages of one of my ancestors, and kicked it with several cousins in different communities, right? So that's my final thought, right? It's just that Black people, let's start researching who we were before the transatlantic slave trade affected us.
My final thought is kind of coupled with Mr. Carter's and trailing off from what I said earlier. You got to have self-love and self-knowledge and self-worth in order to get an external response. You must have an internal response as well. And what I mean is, if you want the outside world to know you and respect you and treat you that way, you got to do that within yourself first. And you have to accept everything and know everything, all the good, all the bad, all the ugly, all the fucked up. You got to know it all. You got to accept it all. Because once you accept it all, the outside world will accept it. And they will treat you in the manner that you're trying to get treated. I'll tell any woman that has ever asked me, why can't I find love, or will I ever find a man to marry me? And I always tell them, are you that caliber? Do you love yourself? Because if you don't love yourself, how do you expect a man to love you? And that's my final thought. Know yourself. Love yourself.
Beast, I have to make an apology to you because I did tell you that you were supposed to be last, and I was like, damn it, I forgot. He's last. This is one of the reasons why I need to write this stuff down. So hey, my debt to society, mine's gonna be 2 minutes. Mine's not gonna be that long, and then next is going to be Mr. O. My final thought is going to be this: it's great to have, people having different perspectives. Here's one thing about us Black folks: we're not all going to agree and think the same way to the food that we eat, to the teams that we root for, to the way that we sleep. But that was make us diverse within our own people. I can't swim. That's the thing with Black people. that they think and believe that we all can't swim. I'm already gonna tell you, I can't swim. But you got the best swimmers that look like us. I love fried chicken. I love it. But then you got a lot of people that love baked chicken or don't like no chicken at all. They are vegan. Basically, what I'm saying is get out the stereotype of how we're or the perception of us. Get out of it. Because we are neither of those. And just because, yes, a lot of us do love watermelon when I don't, you can't be like, well, see, those, many of them, many of my black friends or many black people I chill out with, they eat watermelon. That don't represent me. Or if I don't like watermelon, like, see, they don't like watermelon. See, they don't like watermelon. I'm not talking about them either. We're diverse within our own people. And we ourselves need to get out that, if you're not this, you ain't black enough, or you don't like basketball, really? You think, you don't like MJ? You know who MJ is? Don't sit there and try to take that black card away. Stop it. You should smile every time you know somebody who loves NASCAR more than they love basketball. You should give them their props. Give them their praise. Like, really? You should be more of like, what made you like NASCAR? What made you get more in tune into it? That's the question you should be asking people that look like you. And I'm mainly talking to my brothers and sisters. You should be sitting down with them like, yo, let me get into NASCAR. And then that person that loved NASCAR more than basketball, let me get more into basketball. It will make the world a lot and maybe a much better place. Teach. Not teach. Mr. O?
Yes.
You're up.
I'm very happy to belong to this panel, and I will not waste the opportunity that I am a primitive man from your roots. I'm well knowledgeable about our custom and traditions from the ancient of times, and I will constantly give you tips for you to be naturalized back to Africa. I will end up by, based on that ancient African wisdom and way of saying, that even though we differ in approach to solving problems, we are all on the same boat. The hand that slaps you is the same hand that slaps me. Is the same hand that slapped the black people that in the coast of Iraq, Iran, and all those Arab countries. The same. So our cause is the same. Your struggle is my struggle, even though we differ from how to get there. So I wish this program good luck, and I continue to participate as long as you accept me. That's just what I want to add.
Well, when I first entered into college and I took my first African studies class, the professor said to me, and I remember it, she said that there is not one single Black experience. There are multiple experiences within the culture, which leads me to this word unity. We talked about this a few shows ago. Unity. Without conformity equals diversity. We're a diverse nation. And it is us Africans in this nation, as I've said, you heard me say many times, that we push the envelope of diversity in this nation. And in pushing the envelope of diversity, we learn to tolerate people who have a different opinion, a different belief, a different way of thinking. Because we recognize when we self love, we self acknowledge, we aren't in competition with anyone else. We can stand our ground where we stand. So, unity without conformity equals diversity. Long live the African. No matter where you dwell, in Africa or around the world. Good night.
All right. My final thought is almost a continuation of what I started out with when the program started, but I want to remind everybody to keep their intelligence over their emotions. It's easy to get triggered nowadays out in public with all the racial tension. So I just want to remind everyone to keep their emotions in check. You have to use your brain, your intellect over your emotions. Let me get my thought here. Know how to react in public. If everybody knows when they get triggered, when something's going on in their body, they start getting anxious, and they know when they're getting upset. So learn how to react in public, no matter who you are, black or white. You know, we got too much racial tension going on in this world. So just keep your emotions in check. Take a step back and learn how to have a conversation without having to react in a negative manner, no matter who you are. All right. God bless you all. Have a good night. I love you. Stay strong.
And yes, ladies and gentlemen, that would do it for each and every one of us. Thank y'all for tuning in. Once again, Mr. O, thank you for joining us. And Carter, Mr. Carter, thank you for being a guest. And hopefully we will have you again. And once again, y'all know before we head on out, you know I'm about to ask. Are y'all going to be able to come on Monday?
Yeah.
I'll be here
willing.
Monday.
Yeah. God willing,
I'll be here Monday.
God willing.
Aside, which village did you go in Nigeria? Just for me to know.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll ask you.
The village that I went to in Nigeria was actually in Aguilera. It was the village of Iveri in Aguilera.
Aguilera.
Yes, it was in the
Okay,
Anambra
next
state.
time you tell me the state. Ah, okay. Aguilera. Okay, that is Igbo.
Yes. Yes. Igbo.
That's Igbo. Yeah.
That is where
Yes.
yeah, that's where the majority of it is.
You saw the excitement
Yes,
coming out, Mr. O, when you said that. He's like, yeah, that's Simon Cat.
Yeah, y'all cousins.
I am Urobo, but the Igbo is another tribe. It was a tribe that used to be called Biafra during the Civil War.
Right.
But nevertheless, we are now identifying ourselves of the same root.
That's something.
So
look at that.
Right.
Look at that. So
well, I do have relatives. So,
yes.
So I have both.
There's intermarriage. There's no doubt. There's intermarriage.
Mm-hmm. So, Mr. Carter, so I'm gonna send this question out to you. Are you going to be able to tune in on Monday or to come on the show again on Monday?
Yeah. And I mean, what's Monday? What day is that?
Monday.
Monday. It's
Hey, that's an adult question. That's an adult question you got to ask. Like, what am I doing again?
It's on the 13th of Monday. Because I get used to.
Yeah.
That's Monday 13th.
All right, and this time we will start timely. That was my fault getting off work crazy. Come on, military, Brad, you understand. So
we're in COVID season.
Yeah, and that too. But once again, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. And once again, thank my panel. Thank my panel. Mr. Brad, thank you. Anita Joke, aka Teach, thank you. Mr. Carter being our guest, thank you. Beast Johnson, thank you. Mr. O, thank you so very much. Ladies and gentlemen, this is real as it gets. And it's going to get more real, and we will get more deeper into these issues. We just don't talk about the issues. We get to solutions. Like I said, we on the same sheet of music, but everybody's playing their own different instrument. and there's nothing wrong with that. We're outro, ladies and gentlemen. Thank y'all for tuning in. Don't forget to tell your mama, your daddy, your side pieces, anybody, including your little kids. Tune in. No, not little kids. This is an adult show. Tune in to the show because this is some real information that's coming from us. It's not coming from MSNBC, not Fox News, not CNN, OAN, or whatever news network out there that's on television right now. You're going to get the real right here. And with that, thank y'all for tuning in. And once again, don't forget, there's a network that's going to be coming in the middle of July, and y'all need to watch out for it. We're outro. Good night. Have a great weekend.
Peace.
Good night.